this is the foreigner counter for the tax office, like the tax office in Kaohsiung, right? I'm like, I'm a foreigner, but like, no, you look like Inzumi, right? Like Aboriginal Taiwanese.
And, so I'm basically sitting there like waiting for the tram, and she's coming, all the way, and then she sees me. First she was like a hopeful face, and maybe she found somebody who can help her, but then she looks at my face, and like the hope is gone. But I know she wants to ask me something, so I like 小姐，我会中文，你可以问一下。
Oh, nice. Because in OkCupid, she just typed English.
Okay.
And she can type, and I'm like, that's strange. She's like, okay, since we're starting dating, I gotta let you know, no more English forever. I'm like, When I found like some really good Kung Pao chicken, I go there and they'll always say, after like a week of like, 今天宫保鸡丁吗? Like, yes. And then the next week, 宫保鸡丁吗? Yes. And they're like, okay. And then they see me stop my motorcycle. 宫保鸡丁先生你好. 今天一样吗? Young.
Hello everyone, Amadeus here, and today with a new video to introduce you a story about a man who came to Taiwan 14 years ago. And the reason he came here, he was actually very happy in boring South Korea. And then he met Taiwanese girl and she said, hey, why don't we move to Taiwan? And he say, okay. And then she broke up with him. But the good story is he's still with us. So everybody say hello to Korean and let's learn his story.
Hi everyone. Yes, that was an unfortunate but kind of happy story. Everyone learns lessons. Yep. She broke up with me because her family just didn't approve. This was many years ago.
Okay, so you didn't think after that like staying in Taiwan is a good idea for you?
I mean, I was enjoying Taiwan, I was enjoying teaching. The relationship stuff was unfortunate, but I had like a support network around in Taiwan. So I was like, yep, I could go back to South Africa, but I didn't want to because of lots of bad things that I felt at that time. Again, other South African people might feel differently about growing up in South Africa. So I was like, yep, stay in Taiwan, let's keep going.
In the end, you look happy, so it worked out.
Yeah, it did work out. I am pretty happy now. Things have changed quite a lot.
How do you compare Korea to Taiwan?
Taiwan is way better in terms of food choice and variety. Like when I was living in Korea and teaching, like almost every lunchtime people eat gimbap, which is like the Korean version of sushi, right? Or they have like Paigu fan, right? I don't even know what is the Korean word or the English word anymore, but yeah, lived in Taiwan too long. So that's basically what people eat like all the time. And then people had like pizza occasionally. But like in Taiwan, there's such a greater variety of food from like noodles and rice and suijianbao and so much of choice. You can go everywhere and buy different things. So Taiwan has a better choice of food.
Yeah, it's kind of, sometimes it's a problem because you have too many choices.
Yes, exactly. Like I sit sometimes on my phone, I'm like, okay.
What am I gonna eat today?
What am I gonna eat today? Uber Eats, Food Panda, and you spend 20 minutes thinking because it's so convenient.
It's been here 14 years. You definitely must have some funny stories.
Oh God, so many funny stories. Like I think after my Chinese got better, what used to happen to me all the time is riding a motorcycle like a lot of foreigners do. You're at the stoplight and sometimes people don't know directions and people look at you and you have like a big full face helmet and you have your mask on like recently, right? And people say, 请问中华路在哪里啊? And you're like, okay, here's the directions. And they're like, you don't look like Taiwanese. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I'm a foreigner. Like, boy, sorry. And then sometimes you go to pay your taxes and stuff, and people are like, this is the foreigner counter for the tax office, like the tax office in Kaohsiung, right? I'm like, I'm a foreigner, but like, no, you look like Inzumi, right? Like Aboriginal Taiwanese. And because if you've been in Taiwan for some time, Aboriginal Taiwanese people have very similar like Polynesian Indian features of large eyes and like brownish skin and stuff.
Actually, yesterday I was taking a tram in Kaohsiung, and there was a older lady next to me, but she was like, I don't know, 10 meters away, and I was sitting on a bench on the other side. But she seemed a little troubled how to use it. I don't know if she used it often or not. And so I'm basically sitting there like waiting for the tram, and she's coming, all the way, and then she sees me. First she was like a hopeful face, and maybe she found somebody who can help her, but then she looks at my face, and like the hope is gone. But I know she wants to ask me something, so I like 小姐，我会中文，你可以问一下。
Oh, nice.
Then she just asks, when is the tram coming and like how to pay for that. So your favorite food is?
Oh, my favorite food easily is sui jianbao. There's an Indian food that my mom only made one time, at least I can remember when I was growing up in South Africa. It's called paratha, which is like a pastry filled with like curry and lettuce and other sort of vegetables. And in Taiwan, sui jianbao was like an equivalent of that, which is like gaoli cai and pork, like cabbage and pork together inside a bun, and usually with some chili sauce. Oh, it is delicious.
Lots of people are actually telling me that's one of the best ways of improving your Chinese is finding a Taiwanese girlfriend who doesn't speak English. What do you think about this?
That is true. Like I went to Gaoshida, which is the University of Kaohsiung, to study Chinese for like 6 months. Like some foreigners do that, and it was really good, and I improved a lot. But when I met my current wife, and we met on OkCupid, I believe. That time she was living in Hsinchu, and I went there and we had like a first meal together, and the first meal was like no English. I'm like, strange, okay, sure. Because on OkCupid she just typed English.
Okay.
And she can type, and I'm like, that's strange. It's like, okay, since we're starting dating, I gotta let you know, no more English forever. I'm like, okay, and then that was 8 years ago. This feels like a long time. And then it's never been English since then, and lots of difficulties. Like when we argue, sometimes she'll give me the solid treatment, and then the longest time has been 3 months of just no talking.
3 months without talking.
Yeah, eating meals together. And just like doing stuff, like we'll do the stuff. It's like, hey, I need you to change money in the bank from US dollars to Taiwanese dollars so we can pay our bills this month. And she'll do that, but we'll just never talk about anything meaningful. We'll watch TV, we'll eat lunch together, we'll go for a walk outside and not say a single word during those silent treatments.
So you've been telling me you really enjoy Taiwanese food, don't you?
Yes. I have a bad habit, like since I was a kid, right? Like when I enjoy something, I like to eat a lot of it, right? And that's been something. Like I remember my first year I moved to Taiwan. I didn't have a motorcycle, and there was a lunchbox store close to my house, like a biantang store. And the only thing I ate twice a day for a year was paigu biantang, and that's literally all I ate. I've had that habit when I find something new, like we're talking about before the show, was like, I really love kung pao chicken, and it's hard to find it like that, a store that's regularly stocking it. But when I found like some really good kung pao chicken, I go there and they'll always say, after like a week of like, 今天宫保鸡丁吗? Like, yes. And then the next week, 宫保鸡丁吗? Yes. And they're like, okay. And then they see me stop my motorcycle. 宫保鸡丁先生你好. 今天一样吗? 一样. 好. 今天一个两个. 你确定你不要不一样的东西吗? I'm like, yes. No, thank you. 今天我们的鲜鱼便当真的好吃. No, thank you. 不觉得很无聊？每天都这样 Never.
So after living 14 years in Taiwan, do you still have questions about Taiwan that are unanswered, and maybe somebody from our viewers could help you with that?
Yes, audience, I have so many questions. I could spend another hour talking about that. I'm not going to waste your time. My biggest question is, I've lived here for 14 years. I've been to like the major cities, right? Taidong, Hualien, Taipei, Taichung, Kenting, right? I've always had two sort of thoughts for Taiwanese people. People say, in Taiwan, the most beautiful place is Hualien and the most beautiful place is Taidong. I've been to both. I prefer Taidong, but people say Hualien is the most beautiful place. So audience, what is the most beautiful place in Taiwan for you?
I root for Taidong.
Me too.
Because of the Lisong Wenquan.
Yes.
This place is just like the best.
Hot springs. I'm not a big fan of hot, but I love the ocean.
Yeah. No, it's nice if you sleep there at night in the winter. So if people want to look for you and find your podcast, and what do you do? Where can they look for?
Just on Twitter, my name Korean Pediachi.
If you want to look for Korean, it's very easy. Make sure you check his stuff. And you do the stuff mostly about cryptocurrency.
Yes, I do with crypto. I have another podcast as well that's about gaming.
Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.